welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents our NBA DFS Baller Edition for Monday, May 15th, 2017. It's hard to believe we are halfway through the month. Probably only have another week and a half of daily fantasy basketball left in the year, so get it in while you can. We will be wrapping up Game 7 of one of the Eastern Conference semifinals as Washington heads to Boston to take on the Celtics. It's been said over and over again that thus far this year, the home team has won every single one of these games. I would expect this to be a situation where you will see the majority, if not all of your starters, hitting that 40-minute mark. On Washington's side of things, John Wall is the one constant there. You're going to pay to get him, but he's as solid as they come. Behind him, Markieff Morris has been pretty good over the past few games. Definitely has that disappear when you think he's going to finally be there type of persona. But I would say at his price, he's in play. Otto Porter, who did nothing the previous game, in play. Bradley Beal, despite a high price, in play. Marcin Gortat in play at his price. Basically, the starting five of the Wizards are all in play. The bench, as has been the case for pretty much the entire year, completely invisible in this series. It's going to be interesting. Definitely don't know what direction things are going to go for Washington. On the Boston side of things, it's definitely Isaiah Thomas. It's definitely Al Horford. I expect both of them to come through with big games tonight. Amir Johnson is a write-off. You can pretty well guarantee he won't be involved. Four other guys that I like in this situation would be Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder is always good because he has a ton of upside with how he stuffs the stat sheet, so always want to look at him. Avery Bradley, not my favorite player on this team, but he can get it done as well. His price is up there a little more than I want to pay because of the fact that he had a pretty big first half and then did nothing in the last game. Nonetheless, I do think we have to pay some type of attention to him tonight. Beyond the starters, I think you could look at Kelly Olynyk. You could look at Marcus Smart. I think those would be guys, especially Marcus Smart, that could end up with some extra minutes in this one, especially as we've established Amir Johnson will not be a major part of things. 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes in this one is how I see it going. So my take is I do believe Boston will close this series out. It will be interesting to see how they can hang in with Cleveland, if they can at all. I'm really, as much as I thought that they were going to be a team that really tested Cleveland, with the amount of trouble that they're having at this point with Washington, it's tough to really believe that they will do that. All right, moving on from there, we've got the Western Conference Finals, and I think all that you can really say at this point is Zaza Pachulia is a ridiculously cheap player, and the NBA won't do anything about it because you cannot prove intent in a situation like that. But to pretty much everyone who's ever been involved in basketball, it seems like that would be an intentional move, but what it does is it more than likely knocks Kawhi Leonard out of the next game, maybe out of the next few games. I haven't had a chance. I've been running around this morning as well, but I haven't had a chance to really see what the prognosis is. I'm sure Kawhi Leonard will say that he's going to play in the next game, but you have to be a little bit realistic there. I don't think the MRI has taken place yet, so so I don't really know what to expect there. We'll have to see what goes on there. Without him, it's going to be LaMarcus Aldridge first and foremost. Patty Mills is going to have to step up. Pau Gasol is going to have to step up. Then we have some situations, some guys that could see some extra minutes. Maybe David Lee, even though he's not going to fill in for Kawhi at any point in time, he might be asked to do a little more offensively. Manu Ginobili has to do more offensively. Jonathan Simmons off to a pretty good, he's been seeing some pretty good time on the court. Price has come up, but he's seen 20 plus minutes basically since the start of the Houston series. So I think there's definitely some potential for him there. And yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the Spurs. I hate to say it, and I've been, for the most part, a Golden State fan for the past couple of years because I do like Steph Curry. He's been fun to watch, and I like watching fun basketball. But it's unfortunate that this series now looks like it's going to be a one-dimensional series if Kawhi Leonard is out. But all you have to do is take the eye test, and you could tell that this Spurs team just does not have the firepower that Golden State does. Now let's move over to the Golden State side of the ball. If you haven't read my breakdown yet, or if you haven't read it for like the entire playoffs, the 1-2 punch, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, that's where you're looking at. Durant priced pretty laughably, considering, what he does for this team. So, you got to go with Kevin Durant. You got to go with Steph Curry. Draymond Green always has the potential to pop out with a triple-double or close to it. So he's a guy never going to have no exposure to. Klay Thompson has he just hasn't been there in this playoff series. I still believe at some point he's likely to have a big contribution. It's just tough to say when. Andre Iguodala as well is going to have an MRI today, so you could see some more playing time for Sean Livingston as kind of the third or the sixth man on the floor. So that's about what I would limit it to. This series is going to be interesting to say the least. It could be short. We'll have to see what happens with Kawhi Leonard. But until then, make sure to like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel below, head over to ResearchFantasy.com, sign up for our NBA mailing list, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.